You know how much I love single player games, especially for first person shooters. So today's topic is just me talking about, is single player ever going to be popular like it once was? I'm talking about like in the 80s and probably around the late 90s. Basically before everyone was able to live on a decent internet connection, because 56K was really like the standard back in the 90s. But I think around late 90s, people were starting to switch to DSL, since it was faster, and faster internet is always good for online gaming. Enough said. I mean, I still remember my early moments of playing Warcraft 3 when I was playing with 56K, and it was horrible. So horrible. Like, you couldn't micro at all, and everything was just so delayed. Since 56K was the standard, online gaming was never at its optimal experience compared to like LAN. I still think LAN is the best to play for multiplayer, even though the internet today we use is definitely better than what the 90s had to offer. But on LAN, there's actually still a little lag, but it's more smoother than online can ever be, and it's just a great experience when it comes to multiplayer. And there's a real reason why when you watch like those big tournaments, people never ever play it over the internet, because of the connection factor. But obviously, getting a LAN is more of a hassle when it comes to setting it up than, you know, setting up just to play an online game over you know, Xbox Live or any source of like online service. But hopefully I can play some of my favorite multiplayer games with friends around me and not playing over the internet someday. I am getting a bit off topic, but I do want to say that since the 90s wasn't really smooth for online gaming, single player, on the other hand, was very smooth, since all you need was just yourself and there was no connection factor to it. I just think that's why single player was very popular back then, especially in the FPS world, since FPS games nowadays, I just think people look at it as more of a multiplayer genre, when I'm sure if you guys grew up playing games like Doom and Duke 3D, you know that is totally not true. I guess I kind of miss of how people used to feel attached to single player, and people would try to make the best out of it, like playing the game and just trying to raise its boundaries, and obviously people making, you know, user generated maps and mods. But in today's age, multiplayer and esports is growing so much that I feel like it's just kind of sad to see the FPS genre not really having its single player component embracing gamers like its multiplayer component is. I really enjoyed the New Order, but I'm sure there wasn't really a lot of people who put a lot of time into playing the game and really just trying to learn a lot of interesting things about it. I sure did, and I cannot wait for the Old Blood, and that's another thing right there. The Old Blood isn't really getting any attention at all, which is pretty sad, but at the same time, you can say it's an expansion, and expansions generally don't get much popularity compared to the original game. However, I really am looking forward to it, and I have really high hopes for the game. I think Machine Games finally fixed a lot of the problems I had with TNO, at least from like the footages I've seen. It seems a lot more faster paced, and the pacing seems better. I'll give you guys a first impression once I'm able to play it. I'm pretty much done with the commentary, but just in case you're wondering why I'm using marathon footage, it is simple. When I first played this game, I was like, wow, this game, you know, is pretty amazing. And after beating it, I just wanted to play it again. And once I beaten it on the hardest difficulty, I just wanted to keep on playing it and playing it, because it was a great game, and it actually got a lot better the more I played it. I don't know if anyone ever feels that way when they're playing single player games nowadays, because I think people generally just play it once and that's it, but I think they're playing it wrong. I do feel like the higher quality single player games will make you realize something that you didn't realize in your first playthrough, and for whatever reason it kind of makes it better. I remember when I realized it was possible to get the Banshee on Assault on the Control Room in Halo 1. Once you reach the Scorpion section, I was like, oh wow, that is so cool, and I did not realize that, and it definitely changed the game completely once you were able to get the Banshee. Those are some of the reasons of why I play my single player games repeatedly, just finding cool stuff like that. And I do believe there is a skill gap in single player shooters. It does annoy me when people say, you know, single player is like a casual game mode, while multiplayer is where all the cool kids are playing, where, you know, skill is actually relevant. Like, bullshit, dude. I doubt people could play Marathon 2 as good as I'm playing on their first playthrough, and it feels good to play these games skillfully because there is definitely room to improve yourself as a player. I mean, I'm still trying to learn some of the levels in this game, you know, to play it better than I did, and I'm making progress right now. And the same thing for Doom 2. I still have, you know, room to get better at the game because there's just a lot of stuff I can improve as a player. So with that said, single player games, they do have a skill set and a skill gap to it when it comes to, you know, first person shooters. Anyways, I'm done with this video. Tell me what you guys think. Do you think single player and FPS will ever, you know, come back being relevant like it once was, or multiplayer is going to be the stuff that's going to keep people playing their games repeatedly? So share me your comments and peace out, people.